Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest, can't believe it's been so long since I've spoken to this man. He is a former 212 Olympia champion, might be in 212 Olympia champion again, or might be going into another show. We'll talk about it, guys. Please welcome the real giant killer, Shaun Clarida. How are you, Shaun?
What's up, Ron? Thanks for having me on, my man. I appreciate it. It's been a while.
Yeah. So I'm going to start. It's been so long. I haven't talked to you since last year's Olympia. That's how long it's been. Wow.
We talked after the big Legion win.
We did talk after that. So recap one more time. What led you to do that show? Because people thought you were crazy entering that, and obviously you proved them all wrong like that by beating Sergio and Regan and all these other guys. But yeah, what made you decide as a 212 Olympia champion to go into an open show like that?
I mean, I've always wanted to do a show. That's first and foremost. I always said, one day when the timing is right, I'm gonna definitely do an open show. No matter where I'm at as far as the 212 goes. I was going to be in Reno anyway with Wolfpack, and it was just 2 weeks later. And the one thing I didn't want to do was kind of end my season on a down low. Obviously, losing a title definitely was like a low for me. So I wanted to I needed to redeem myself, give myself a little bit more motivation going into the next season. And like I said, I was going to be there regardless. So I reached out to Wolfpack and make sure that he was okay with it. Michael, the owner there. I reached out to the promoter, Chris Meadows, let him know I was interested in doing the show. I signed the paperwork and it was official. So, it was just 2 weeks later of dieting. It wasn't a big deal. And the timing was just perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people call themselves giant killer. I even see like all amateurs on Instagram calling themselves giant killer, but to really call yourself a giant killer, you have to do, in my mind, what you did, which was be a much lighter guy and beat these much heavier guys. That's a giant killer. Does it ever bother you that so many other people steal that name, Giant Killer?
No, not at all. I mean, I think it's great. Honestly, I'm doing this for those guys. For me, I'm doing this for all the bantamweights, the lightweights, the welterweights, the middleweight. These guys are looking at me saying, because of you, I'm going to go for my pro card, or I'm going to try to do this. And that's what I want. That's why I put out so much content on my end to show these guys, as long as they put the work in, believe themselves, and just stay consistent, they can absolutely get to that level. But yeah, as far as the Giant Killer thing, like a lot of people, I've used the name since 2006. I didn't proclaim myself Giant Killer. A good friend of mine had given it to me years and years ago, and I just stuck with it. A lot of people don't realize also, like, I'm probably the lightest 212 guy there is in the division. Yeah. Even though I'm not, a giant killer in the 212, I'm still giving up 30, 40 pounds to some of these guys. So in my mind, I was still a giant killer, but that name really became, pronounced and really out there when I won that Legion Pro.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw Kamal do the open shows this past summer. Tampa. I was at both of them. I was at Tampa and Texas. How do you think he looked as an open guy? It was a few more pounds muscle, and did you kind of feel bad that he didn't get a win as a 212 guy trying open?
Yeah, I knew he was doing that. I had talked to him at the Arnold back in March, so obviously I knew he was doing that show. He had told me, and I wasn't going to tell anyone out of respect for him. But yeah, he looked phenomenal. I mean, again, like us 212 guys, just like him, he was complete from top to bottom. Conditioning, everything was balanced, round. I mean, he honestly could have won either one of those two shows. I do feel bad he didn't win it. I know he really wanted to obviously move into an open category this year, but he absolutely proved that he's a giant killer himself.
Yeah. All right, so now I'll get right into it, because I didn't realize until just before we started recording, you have not announced whether you are competing in the 212 Olympia or the Open Mr. Olympia, because you are qualified for both. You're not the only one. I think it's Angel Calderon is also, and is there another guy too, I think, in the 212?
No, just Angel myself. Angel myself right now. Honestly, no, I haven't made a decision. From the Legion Pro until now, I knew I was qualified for both, and I was honestly hoping that being able to do both was a possibility. I just had talked to the IFBB recently, and they had told me, unfortunately, I can't do both. So that left me with a big decision, and obviously I'm still kind of pondering that decision of, should I go back to 212, or should I just, kind of take that next step and go to the Open? Still talking to my coach, obviously, Matt, and my girlfriend, and we're just trying to figure out what the right decision is. But that decision will be made officially next week.
And you're going to put that on your YouTube channel?
So it will be available on both my Facebook and my Instagram, and I'm also going to do a video on my YouTube. Okay.
Well, I know you haven't made the decision yet, but you got pluses and you got minuses. What are the pluses toward, let's just say, what's the pluses toward doing 212 Olympia, and what are the minuses toward doing the 212 Olympia? as opposed to open?
If I did the 212, obviously I've won that title before, and going to the show on paper, people would think I have a really good chance of winning it. I never see myself as a guaranteed win, because anyone in that 212 category is a threat. I always said, look at me. 2005, I was dead last. Yeah. No one expected me to come up and work my way up to winning the title. So I take everyone in that class very serious. But again, being that I'm a former champion and on paper, people have me as a possibility to win that title back once again.
Yeah.
On the flip side, again, I don't think there's ever been a 212 guy besides David Henry, maybe, who's jumped into the open and done well. I mean, I just proved that I could beat Sergio Regan, Patrick Moore, rest in peace, Cedric McMillan, all these big name guys who have won big titles. So for me, going to the open category, placing even anywhere in that top 8, top 10 is a big deal as far as marketing, publicity, just expanding that Giant Killer brand. So it's got, pluses and minuses on both sides. I feel that decision that will be made next week is the best decision for me and my team going forward. And once the decision is made, we're just going to focus 100% on that.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at a couple guys who were 212 competitors and they didn't get to your level. They never won the Olympia. We got William Bonac. William has won 2 Arnold Classic in the Open. He's been runner-up at the Mr. Olympia. He's been 3rd place at the Olympia. Hadi Chupan's been, I think, 3rd twice now. So they were never at your level in the 212, which must make you wonder if they could do that well as in the Open. I wonder what I could do.
Honestly, that is a big thing I'm thinking about. I mean, look at these guys. Again, David Henry did very well. You said Bonac, Hadi, these guys are 212 champions. And even though they were Olympia champions, I think I definitely fare well in the Open. I mean, again, I proved it at the Legion, but I definitely feel that, if I decide to go into the Open this year at the Olympia, I'm going to beat some guys. I'm not going to say I'm going to win it because I'm very realistic. I know that these guys will, Rami, Brandon, Hadi, these guys are good. They're great. But I'm very realistic that I'm not going to beat these guys, but I'm very realistic that I can beat some guys for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the debate that people will have is, well, is it better to win the Olympia title as a 212, and that would be your second one? Would that be more prestigious, or would it be more prestigious to get maybe like 5th place in the Open behind, Rami and Brandon Curry and Hadi Chupan?
Yeah.
In your mind, what's more prestigious?
I mean, calling yourself the champion, and no matter what class you're in, is always number one, right? Say you're the best of the best in that category for sure. But again, on the flip side, placing anywhere, placing top 10 in this year's Olympia with the lineup, oh my God, that was just, that sky's the limit there.
Yeah. So when Derek Lunsford got the special invite and took it, was part of you upset? Like, I wanted to beat this guy and get my title back, or were you like, oh, cool, that's the only guy that beat me last year. So nothing against Kamal. And we got guys like Keon, Kareth Bajo. We got some tremendous 212 competitors this year, of course. But you would be the front runner, the heavy favorite to get that title back.
No, Derek's decision definitely wasn't any type of factor on me. Again, I take everyone in that class very serious, and I respect each and every one of the 212 guys, champion or not. But Derek's decision going to the Open for sure wasn't like, okay, cool, he's going, then I'm going to do this. So I'm not running from anybody. I've never run away from anybody. If Derek decided to stay in 212 this year and I decided to go in 212, so be it, and vice versa. So that definitely wasn't one of my factors.
Fair enough. So, when I'm all over the place with this, but when you won Legion, it sparked one debate saying, well, if these guys in the 212 like Shaun Clarida are so good, they can beat most of these Open guys anyway. Why do we need it? Why do we need a 212 division? Why don't we just go back to like the 90s when guys like Lee Priest and or going way back, Muhammad Makaway, Muhammad Ben Aziza, there were lighter guys that routinely placed top 5 in the Olympia in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that? Do you feel like we need a 212 division for these guys that maybe wouldn't be able to compare? Or because are you like the exception? How many guys like you could really go into the Open and do damage in the 212 is what I'm really getting at.
Honestly, no. Having a 212 is I think it's great. It's a must because it's a stepping stone for us. It was a stepping stone for me. Coming from a bantamweight, I knew I was needing to kind of start over again. So had I not had the 212, there's a good chance I may or may not be here right now because, if just going right to the Open, that'd be crazy. But the 212 gave me a home, somewhere to develop and get better and slowly work my way up the ladder to where I was able to, start placing in the top 5, top 3, winning a pro show, getting to Olympia, then winning the Olympia. These are steps. And there's a lot of guys to 212, like I said, probably can't do well as far as in the Open goes. But again, they have that home to where they can do well, make money, and really brand themselves.
Yeah. So the other big debate that you started when you won Legion was, why can't this guy do both the Open and the 212 Olympia? I mean, I think, you know, the fans all wanted that. I didn't hear one fan saying, no, 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 we would never want to see that. Of course we want to see that, but what's the reasoning? Do you think it's just there would be too many people on stage, or it's too confusing? Why do you think they can't have you in both shows?
There's never really been a crossover at the Olympia level, at the Olympia show, period. And I don't think they want to start that, you know, having this person go to that show and that. It'll just be a whole, it's a long weekend in general. You know, it's a long weekend for everyone, and they don't want to have, you know, we've seen amateur shows have crossovers, and then we're there all night. At the Olympia level, we don't want to have 30, 40 different crossovers. We'll be there for 3, 4, 5 days. So I respect the decision 100%. I have to pick one of the classes. But I think that was probably one of the biggest decisions why they said no, is because they don't want people to start jumping around.
Sure, fair enough. So I want to remind people, go back in time here to your Olympia placings, because this is probably the best linear progression I've ever seen of a competitor. 2015, you did not place. 2016, 13th, at least now you're in the top 15. 2017, 9th place. 2018, 7th place. 2019, all the way to 3rd. 2020, you become the Olympia champion. And last year, you got knocked out by Derek Lunsford. But wow, what a very steady progression. I mean, did you always believe, even in that first year when you didn't place, that you would be up in the top at one point?
Absolutely. You just said it right there. I believed. I knew I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe I could be the champion. I wouldn't be wasting my team's time, my time, my coach's time, if I didn't absolutely believe that, you know, one day I could be the best of the best. And I just knew, coming from where I was, a bantamweight, being undersized, that I needed that time to really hone in on my physique, make those improvements, get bigger, make everything rounder, balance everything. That takes time. And if you see in my post, I put transformation pictures up all the time, letting people know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds a year, every single year. Eventually that adds up. And that's what it did for me. I went from 154 pounds, my first Olympia in 2015, to 177 pounds when I won the Olympia. You know, that's just realistic. You're not going to go from, you know, A to Z in a matter of 2 seconds. It takes time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you turned pro at about 130 pounds. Is that right?
143.
143. But prior to that, when you were in WNBA, other organizations, you were like 125 when you started competing.
My first show was 118 pounds.
Wow. So I got to ask you then, did you have a vision in your head of this physique? Because I don't think too many people would have ever expected that guy to ever, no matter what he did, could ever look like this.
You're right. People didn't believe it. At first, I didn't believe it. I was just doing it because I loved the whole getting on stage and displaying the hard work. But eventually, once I learned more about the sport, learned about the IFBB, what the Mr. Olympia was, and started really following these guys like David Henry, Dexter Jackson, I said, one day I can get there. It's going to take time. And I've seen a lot of guys start with me, and a lot of guys kind of falling off because they just got tired, or they just wanted to rush the process, or just couldn't, didn't want to, really waste their time. I just knew that it was going to take time to get there. And I knew how dedicated I was and my work ethic. And I knew that what the goal was. And I never stopped believing in that.
Yeah. Speaking of hard work, you got some props on a show. We just started a new show called MD Muscle Talk. It's hosted by John Livia, and he has different panelists on. He trains at Signature Fitness, so he sees you.
Yep. And
he says, there's a few pros there, and there's only like 2 of them that really train hard, and you're one of them. King Kamali was on the podcast, and he says he's seen you train, and that's what separates you from a lot of the competition. And I do believe there's a different look to the physique, to the musculature of somebody who really trains hard and heavy. Has that always been your training style? Because it's given you a very, very different look and set you apart from your competitors.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, that's why I love to train. That's that for me is like, if I don't feel like I just annihilated myself, whether I'm in prep or off season, like I feel like I'm wasting my time. But like you just said as well, that's what gives you that dense, hard, crazy look on stage. I mean, look at the best champions in the world: Branch Warren, what's his name, Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates, all these guys. What do? They train heavy from start all the way into the show. I mean, Ronnie was deadlifting 800 pounds 4 or 5 weeks out from Olympia, and that's the reason why he looked the way he did on stage. It wasn't because of the dieting and all the cardio. It was because he trained his ass off from start to finish and never let up. So that's how I like to train. Personally, that's what I feel works best for my body. I always said that if I want to get in shape, I'd rather do more cardio and diet harder and still be able to train hard and heavy in the gym and keep that muscle dense, hard around on stage.
Yeah. So I'm curious, your off season, you're about 200 pounds, 210, something like that?
The most I've been so far is like 210, 211.
Okay. So a lot of people watching this are probably, they don't look like you, but that's probably around their weight. So
Yeah.
I believe pound for pound, you're stronger than Ronnie or any of those guys we just named, because if you do the math, let's do the math. What are some of the top lifts you've done with different conventional bodybuilding exercises in your off season?
I've squatted 515 for reps. I dumbbell press the 170s in each hand for reps. I can dumbbell row the 190s for reps. When I did deadlift back in the day, I was doing 455 for reps. And I was 130 pounds at the time when I did that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a strong, I believe I'm a strong guy for sure. You know, I definitely, that's how I've always trained. I always begin and believe in progressive overload and really just annihilating the muscle.
Yeah. And you try to keep your strength right till the end in prep?
Yeah, I try to. Like I say, I definitely try to push the weight when I can. But at the same time, I am realistic, listen to my body very much. If I'm having a day where I'm feeling really off or, you know, diet's really getting to me, I'm going to be smart, obviously, and lower the weight. But for me, I don't believe in, you know, oh, I'm getting ready for a show, let's go focus on machines and cables. Like, yeah, machines and cables actually have their place, maybe like the last week or two, maybe, if that. But for me, even if I have to lower the weight with a dumbbell or a barbell, I'd rather put that in my hand and really grasp a dumbbell or barbell. Because I just feel like for me, that's what, again, for me personally, in my physique, that's what makes my muscle look different than others.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's a blessing and a curse that we have all this amazing equipment now in 2022, almost 2023. So many options, but if you look at the people that have developed these physiques, like you said, Ronnie didn't use barely any machines or cables. It was a lot of heavy free weights. Branch was all free weights. Johnny, Dorian, it was kind of a mix, but still a lot of heavy free weights. Do you feel like too many of the guys now might be opting more for the machines and missing out?
Yeah, I mean, you know, to each your own. You know, I'm never going to knock someone for the way they train, because obviously especially if they're Olympia level, obviously they're doing something right. Yeah. But I do feel like if they maybe, you know, switched a little bit or change things, they can definitely bring a different look. And I would say also this, 2020, when the lockdown happened, that was probably one of my best off seasons, because I didn't have a gym to train at. A good friend of mine had a private gym, and it was literally around dumbbells and barbells, and that was it. There was 0 machines, and I literally did the same deadlift, barbell rows, presses every single day for 5 months, and my physique completely changed that year. That was the year I won the Olympia. Wow. And the reason why I looked that way is because I literally trained the same way every single day, just compound movements, just banging every week.
And that's funny, because I bet a lot of us who were locked down, we were all locked down, obviously, all our gyms were shut down. A lot of us felt like we were missing out, like, oh no, I don't have my leg curl machine, I don't have my lat pull down machine. Wow. And here you just proved that not having access to those, and that's the year you were unstoppable. I still can't get over the way you looked that year. You still look amazing, of course, but I mean, that was like, you had leveled up. You had leveled up to a freaky level with the round, thick, dense muscle. And obviously you beat everyone in the world in the 212 that year. So you did something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was literally basic movement. I squatted every week. I deadlift, I rack pulled, I bench press every single week, the same movements over and over. Just got stronger at it, obviously. I was still doing my cardio, I was still dieting, but the muscle just hung on a lot more, thicker, just because of the poundages I was doing.
Yeah. So I don't think you were with Mutant the last time we talked. So tell me about how you got to be part of that team with Mutant Nutrition. You know, what made you decide to go with them? Because you had offers from different companies.
Yeah, no, honestly, this has been like a 7-year process in the making, honestly. Wow. So I had reached out to them back in 2015. I was a big fan of the brand. I knew everyone there. But obviously they had a team in place at that time. But even so, I still hung out with everyone. I would go to the expos. I made sure to go, you know, find their booth, go say what's up. And I literally kept in contact with every single person over the years. And I still use many of their products over the years as well. And once in a while, they'd send me some stuff to try out. And so I definitely kept in contact. And this past year, I was let go from my supplement contracts. And I made that known. So I definitely had a few offers on the table. I had like 6 or 7 different offers. They were okay, but the owner of Mutant during the time 2020 lockdown, they had made a bunch of big changes, and they had let some guys go as far as athlete wise.
Yeah.
But now that things are opening back up and things are getting back to normal, Jim McMahon, the owner, and myself, we were on a phone call, and he had pretty much said he wants to kind of get back to what Mutant was, which is that grassroots brand. And that's one of the reasons that I've always been a fan, because it's one of the hardcore brands. And I hate the fact that I see a lot of these companies start one way and go a different way just to kind of maintain themselves. They've never done that. They've always stayed true to their roots, and that's why I've always been a fan. But like I said, Jim decided to kind of want to get back to the way things are going, brought some guys back, such as Dusty Hanshaw, who we know is a beast as well. Yeah. And he thought I'd be a great fit for the team, and he knew that I've been a fan, and I've been trying to get on board with them for the past 7 years. So he knew that I was really in it to, for long haul. And he made me an offer, and then it was just an instant. I didn't even think about it. It was like, yes, let's do it. And I started with them, and then the next week I was in Vegas with them. We were doing content at the gym. Some of the guys came out. Andrea Shaw, we know, the champion, Dusty Hanshaw, Jamie the Giant. Everyone was out there. We were doing content. We spent a couple of days together, just having fun. And I'm excited for what's to come. This, for me personally, Ron, I'll say this right now. This is it for me as far as something company goes. I feel like this is where I belong. They've taken really good care of me. I've only been with them for 3-4 months now, and I'm as excited. Again, it's something I've been wanting and hoping for many, many years. It's here, it's happened, and I'm very excited for the future. So
this is your first prep using their products. What are your favorite Mutant products during this Olympia prep?
The three main things. There are Madness, which are pre-workout. It does have caffeine. I've never been a big caffeine guy, but this one is not overly done, so I don't get that crazy jittery feeling. There's 0 crashes, and I can utilize it during my prep. The second thing will be our gear, which is our EAA support. It's a sweet iced tea flavor. So I literally sip that throughout my entire workout, and sometimes even during cardio as well. And the ISO Surge, which is our protein. It comes in it comes in many flavors. My two are the chocolate peanut butter and the strawberry. Just crazy tasting, very low in calories, very low in sugar, carb. It's perfect for prep. All the products are great, but if I had to pick just 3, those are my 3 go-tos for sure. Fair enough.
All right, bodybuilding stuff goes over here, because now we talk about life. You're going to be a dad, man. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah, man, that came out of way left field.
It always does.
Yeah. My girlfriend and I, Rosangela, obviously we planned, not planned it, but we were talking about it, and, we decided, it was time to start, working on toward having a family. And, it's been like a couple of years and things weren't happening. We said, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's okay. Yeah. And then a couple of months ago, she came to me, and we're come to find out we were having a little one, our first one together. And life has definitely changed for the better. Obviously, everything is focused on the baby. The motivation this year is just for the baby. For me personally, as far as the gym goes, I had to make some changes with that, because you guys know I train with her every day for the past 8 years. Wow. And now that she's not training with me anymore, I have my good friend Ivan, who stepped in and took the reins and has been training with me every single day.
Nice. And you said the due date is what, like 10 days after Olympia, something like that? Not even?
Yeah, I messed that schedule up big time. But no, she's due the day after Christmas.
Wow, that's amazing. So is your girl going to be in Vegas, or is she need to be like home for her doctor and all that stuff in case?
So the doctor, she told us, it's funny. So she told the doctor, we were at a visit. She's like, hey, just so you know, I have to travel in December for, Shaun's show. She's like, you're not going anywhere. So unfortunately, due to the baby and how close she is, you can't fly that close to birth. Right. So she'll be home with some of my friends, making sure she's okay. She'll be watching the pay-per-view, and I have pretty much half the gym signature coming with me to make sure I'm good.
Nice. Yeah. So you haven't had a gender reveal. You don't know if it's a boy or girl yet?
No, I'm having a little baby girl, man.
Oh, you have? It's going to be a girl, or you want a girl?
No, we're having a girl.
Oh, congratulations! Yeah, that's a good first one. Then you have a boy later. That's what I did. So wow.
future Miss Olympia in the making.
I bet, man. Yeah, because she's got some. Your girl's got some genetics too. But man, I mean, you're hoping this baby is not early, right?
No, God willing. Hopefully, she's late.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's fine. Yeah, that's. I mean, congratulations. I wonder, did age factor in? Because I mean, you look like a baby, but you're actually in your 30s now, right? You're not 40. You're not 40, are you? You're
I'm 40.
40?
Yeah, it's hitting me hard, and I'm 40 now. It's crazy.
Wow, I don't see nothing. Wow, you could play a high school student on
Hey,
TV. Wow, God bless you, guy. 40
thank
years
you.
old. Did that factor in because you don't want to be like the old man with the baby?
No, like I said, we were trying, but we weren't like trying. So like I said, if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. We were just enjoying our lives, enjoying each other, and it just happened. And obviously, she's a little bit older as well. She's younger than me, but she's still older as far as baby terms.
Yeah.
So that's why the doctor is really like, we have to be careful of everything. So yeah, she's a little older. I'm 40, and then it's just time, you know. And God willing, everything happens when it needs to happen. Again, timing is everything. So we believe this is definitely a good thing for us. Again, I needed something to kind of hone in on this year. Like I needed a little bit more redirection, a little bit more focus, a little bit more personal motivation. And like I said, for years, I was doing it just for myself, right?
Yeah.
My teams and everything. But now I have a girl coming, I have a baby, I have a family, someone to feed. Like that, for me, that's here now. Like everything I do going forward is for her to make sure she has a great life. I want her to be proud of her dad and everything I've done and everything I'm doing for her now is for her and her future.
You know, you put it perfectly because everyone out there who has had children, I hope everyone feels this way. It changes your life, and your life is not just for you anymore. Now you're living for this other person who depends on you for everything for quite a while. And it's a whole other level of motivation to succeed and to do your best in life, because it's not just if you succeed or you fail, it's not just you anymore. It's the family.
So, literally, Ron, it's I wake up every morning. It's like, I don't want to do this cardio. I don't want to do this or do that. It's like, I got to do it for her. Like I gotta win at no matter what. And not just Olympia, every show going forward, everything I do as far as shows, contracts, appearances, everything is only for her. And again, to make sure she's taken care of, make sure she has a great life. And I want her to know that her dad did any and everything for her to make sure she had a great life.
Fair enough. You got any names yet? Names picked out?
Yeah, I think we're gonna hold off for now. We do have a name, but we're gonna announce that soon.
Fair enough. I mean, you know,
for now it's this baby GK.
Baby GK. That's awesome. Baby GK. Well, man, I was hoping you would have talked about which Olympia you were doing, but it's good to have a little bit of suspense and drama too, of course, because what else we got in the sport? It's not that we don't have people slamming into each other on a football field, so it's not quite as exciting.
And I know some of you guys are not you personally, but I know people are a little upset that I haven't really posted, you know, any progress pictures or anything like honestly, Ron, if you've known me or followed my career, and that's how it always works. I believe in working in silence. I mean, even when I competed in other federations, I wouldn't tell people what shows I was doing. I would just show up. I don't believe in, like, again, people who post the photos and the videos of themselves training in tank tops or no shirt or whatever, or progress pictures every day. Great. If I get you going in the morning, absolutely go for it. But for me personally, Ron, I like to work in silence. I like to give people that little bit of anticipation, like what's he looking like or what's he going to bring to Olympia. I don't want to keep posting the same thing every single day. And then I get to the show, it's like, oh, we already knew this was coming. Yeah. You know, I knew that this year is going to be one of my best years as far as progression goes, because just like every other year, I've progressed every year, even though everyone said I'm kind of stuck where I'm at. Yeah. This year is no different. I'm better this year. I'm improved. The conditioning will be there. And I want you guys to be shocked when I get to the show. But for me, man, again, working in silence, keeping the hoodie on and the big T-shirts while I train, that's me. I'm comfortable that way. That's how I like to work. And I believe there's a time and place for everything. So the gym is where I bust my ass to train and put the work in. And the stage is where you guys get to all see the hard work displayed.
And you know what? I commend you for that, because this, like you said, there's like 18, 19-year-old kids with shirtless pics every damn day. And, you know, obviously they're not at your level, but man, it gives a little bit more suspense and mystery to it, like the old days, because so many times we see guys posting pictures and videos weeks into the show and they look phenomenal because they're all pumped. They're in the gym. They're in that one place in the gym where the sunlight hits at 3:30 p.m. every day and you look amazing. And then you see them on stage. You're like, huh, doesn't look like he looked on Instagram. So
they're Instagram bodybuilders. And I'm not that guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're the total opposite. I mean, it's a rarity.
And plus, I've been doing this 17 years, you know, training 20 years. I've been doing this before social media existed. So I'm not going to change how I used to train in sweatshirts, boots, the whole 9 yards. I train with the old school guys. And that's kind of how I learned to train, like stay covered up, do the work. And when you get to the show, then you show off the hard work.
Yeah, man. I mean, you are a bodybuilder's bodybuilder. Stronger than he looks, humble, stays covered up. I could go on all day, but I'm not going to kiss your ass anymore. Let's just say I'm very much looking forward to your announcement. This is going to air early next week, so it'll be probably within a couple days, guys, of you watching this. Shaun's going to let you know whether he's going to be doing 212 Olympia to try to get that title back, or Open Olympia, which would be, I'd be equally, I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed either way. I mean, I'd be happy to see you get your Olympia title back in 212. I'd be just as happy to see you do very well in the Open Olympia. So it's a win-win, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we were still kind of pondering, but we think we made the right decision. We know we made the right decision. And again, 30 days out, wherever that day is next week, that announcement will be made.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for that. In the meantime, follow Shaun. It's what's your Instagram, Shaun? I'll put it in the link.
Just at Shaun Clarida. I don't have any crazy names or anything.
Well, just to reiterate, it's Shaun, because there's so many ways to spell Shaun these days. Shaun Clarida. All right. Well, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat seeing what you come at us with and give us that announcement. So in the meantime, thanks very much, Shaun. Appreciate you taking the time. And everybody, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, leave some comments under there. We love your feedback. Hit your notification bell and all that. And thank you guys for watching Ronline Report with the Giant Killer, Shaun Clarida. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Ron.
Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.